They're ready.
2. All right, Sheila, you
1, 2. Yep.
ready? All right, it's 6 o'clock, so I'd like to call this meeting of the Copper Canyon Planning and Zoning Commission to order. It's a regular session, Monday, October 21st, 6 p.m. in the council chambers. Whereupon we've got a number of items to discuss. Come on in. Hello again. First thing is call it to order. We do have a quorum. In fact, we've got a complete group tonight. Our first item is citizens can make comments to the Planning and Zoning Commission. We ask citizens who wish to speak on agenda items to sign in on the sheets on the side. I've already got a couple. And then there's a 3-minute limit on each speaker. Pursuant to open meeting laws, the Planning and Zoning Commission cannot discuss or take any actions on items not posted on the agenda. So this time right now is for public input on items that are not on the agenda, any general subjects. Anyone have any input? Nope. So hearing none, we will move on. First thing we'd like to do is have a development update from our town administrator, Troy.
Yes, Commissioner, thank you. So a couple of quick updates. Jernigan Estates, as you guys know, their construction, we issued their grading permit. Their construction's underway. They have started doing all the utility work and roads and all the things associated with the beginning of development. So that project's well underway. We also have Copper Knolls Estates. They also received their grading permit. And so when you drive out there off of Orchid Hill, you'll see the silt fencing go up. I think they did a last hay bale right before they actually move in and mobilize heavy equipment. So those two projects are well underway. The other, some proposed developments that came to our DRC meeting last week was the awning property, which is located off of Copper Canyon Road, just south of Quiet Hill. It is proposed to be 22 lots, 2 acres each. It'll have 2 entrances, proposed entrances onto Copper Canyon Road as well. They have a couple of detention ponds and those type things. So their next step is to kind of take the recommendations or thoughts that we gave them in the DRC and then bring it to planning and zoning in the future. They have not indicated any timelines or dates when that would occur, but that's kind of one that's proposed out there. There is a second proposed development off of Woodland and Chin Chapel, which is called the Quarter Horse Estates. That is going to potentially be a 4-lot, 2-acre development as well, with 1 entrance onto Woodland and Woodland Drive. And so those are the up and coming developments potentially that may come y'all's way soon. So no timing on any of those. Another just quick note, because I know a lot of folks are asking about phase 3 of the proposed phase 3 of Copper Creek Estates that is now in the county. We had an opportunity to meet with the county this past week, and they have not approved any plats associated with that. The first plat got denied due to drainage issues. So the county is waiting and has not received any updates from the developer on any drainage plans or anything like that. So that is kind of on hold or standby.
That's still in ETJ, right? That's not in...
That is 100% in the county.
Oh.
That 42 acres is 100% in the county. So they're overseeing that whole project.
Right.
The county, Chris and I had met with them, and we were perfectly clear on, and they agreed that they are going to make sure that any drainage issues that may impact phases 1 and 2, that we'll all be at the table kind of looking at those and reviewing those as well. So, but there's been no plan brought forward by the developer at this time.
Okay. You want to introduce our town council here?
Yeah, this is Matt Butler. He's with Boyle and Lowry, so he's joining us tonight just in case any questions come up.
Great. Pleasure to be here. Thank you, Matt. All right. First item is our consent agenda, which consists entirely of the August 26th minutes of this commission. Do I hear any comments or a motion to approve?
I don't have any comments. I'll make a motion if no one else has comments.
Second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Ken. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that is a unanimous approval. We will now move to the public hearings. So the first one, I'd like to reverse the order. They're in the agenda in 1 and 2. I want to do 2 and 1, just to be different. The first one will be a final plat of the Canyon Bluffs Edition, Block A, lots 6R-1 and 6R-2, being a replat of Block A, Lot 6 of the Canyon Bluffs Edition, an addition to the town of Copper Canyon, Texas, recorded on document number 2020-10 in the plat records of Denton County, Texas. I think if we, I only have 2 folks who mentioned they want to do public input. My first one is Kent Collins. Did you want to comment on this one or the other one? This one, all right. If you could take the microphone and state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Would you make sure the green button is on the microphone?
It is.
Okay, very good. You can speak close.
Okay. Kent Collins. I live at 963 Orchid Hill Lane for about 34 years. I would have to be an auctioneer to tell you all the information necessary for the 8 acres that's up for replat. Right? There's a long history associated with those 8 acres. But the things that I want the council to understand and to know is 2 things. One is we moved to Copper Canyon for a certain ambiance, a certain way of life, a certain way to live. We want to make sure that stays that way. The second thing is that the owner of that 8 acres at one point had the opportunity to make sure that all 8 acres had easement and had access to the easement, which eliminates the necessity clause aspect of getting access to that 2 acres that this wanted to get access for replat. Because at that time, the builder could have easily made sure that all of that land had easement access. Other thing is the purpose of the 2 acres, which is my understanding is condo building. Obviously, that doesn't fit with any of the residents, at least that I know, that live out in that area.
I'm sorry, what kind of building?
Condos.
No, there's no condos in this town, so
No.
that will not happen. So that's
Well,
a non-starter. We
that's
don't even need to go there.
Okay.
Right?
Well, that's
Sorry.
the purpose of the replat.
I'm sorry, we're not supposed to debate with you, but we don't need to go down alleys that are dead ends.
Okay, if they're dead ends, then that's wonderful. Okay. But that's what shows on at least the online documents that I saw was the purpose for the 2 acres. So the other thing is, I think on the replat, the easement access request was an easement that was granted to 963 based on 2 other easements being released. One of those easements runs along Sue Tamel's property to Orchid Hill, and the other one was to split the 8 acres in half. That was all done by Jerry Campbell, who actually developed Canyon Bluffs Estates. He was the original architect and developer. The other thing I want to say publicly to everyone here, as well as anyone who listens to this online, there are land use restrictions that were written in when that land was sold originally. The citizens that currently own that property should review those land use restrictions because it would prevent 90% of what's going on right now, if not 100% of what's going on. All they have to do is vote unanimously, and they can prevent any of that activity from taking place.
And could you be specific about which pieces of property have the land use on it? Is it just lot 6R and 1 and 2, or does it include lot 4 and lot C and lot?
It includes lots 1 all the way through 4 and all the property associated with Canyon Bluffs Estates, which there was a official plat that was submitted to the city that was approved for that entire development.
Okay.
It requires a unanimous vote. It can only be done once every 10 years.
Well, thank you.
Do we have that?
I can give you a copy if you need it.
All right, thank
that
you,
it?
Mr. Collins. And our second speaker was Jason Bakken. Sorry, how do you pronounce it? Bowen.
Yes. So I'm Jason Baum. I'm at 962 Orchid Hill. I'm Kent's neighbor slightly up the hill. I think I'm a little confused on what we're doing here because My understanding, and I have documents that say so, is that I own the land on the easement. And I understand that, like Kent, there are others that may have been grandfathered in, but based on the 8 acres that were divided up, and which is what the 2 acres are coming from, they are not. So I don't know what there is to debate here, and I don't know if the person that bought the 2 acres is planning on showing documentation that he's somehow has the ability to use the easement. But in my opinion, based on the documents that I've seen, survey, title docs, et cetera, I actually own that land. And so I guess that would be my first question is, does the gentleman or the group that owns that land have documentation saying otherwise? The other thing is the road, and I mean, just going out there to look at it, you'd be able to tell this. There's absolutely no chance that emergency vehicles can access the end of that easement. I would be surprised if an Amazon truck could get down there at this point. There was a delivery the other day from Walmart, and the Walmart truck couldn't even get down there. They left the supplies on our driveway, which I'm happy to do for my neighbors. I don't mind it at all, but I'm bringing it up to tell you that if there is some kind of emergency at that end of the easement.
We're talking about down that big dip.
Yes, sir.
And then there's a house or some building at the far end. Is that
They're on Canyon Bluff.
off Canyon Bluff?
They're off Canyon Bluff.
They're
yeah.
not off that road.
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir. So I don't really have much other than that. I do have one other question. Why isn't the gentleman that sold him the 2 acres out of the 8 acres allowing him to access the land from the remaining acres that he owns? Because you can access them from Canyon Bluff. So why is he forcing this gentleman to try and use our easement? And I mean, he could really let him clear a path through the remaining 6 acres, I guess would be my question. So that's all I have.
Okay. Any other speakers that haven't signed in yet? Could you fill in a sheet real quick so we've got a record that you're here and have a comment? You can fill it out after you speak. Just you can go ahead and just state your name and your address.
I'm Kelly Peterson. I live at 3013 Canyon Bluff Court, which Simon's basically has easement off of my property to his. Like them, we're not sure what easements or how this is going to affect the rest of us. I moved to Copper Canyon because I love the community. I love the planning that makes Copper Canyon the way it is. And it's silly to cave to someone that painted themselves into a corner. Is really what's going on here is they had opportunity to develop forward. Instead, they're going backwards. And who's going to suffer? Those of us that have been here. I don't want to have a house, that's going to obstruct my view. Up I'm on the hill, and where we're looking at is going to be in my visual area. And so, if they want access, maybe they should be buying some of our properties, at a nice premium. But it's just not right to let someone paint themselves into a corner and then allow other people to suffer because of their misplanning.
All right. Thank you.
Just so I understand, sir, if you don't mind, is this just under where your house is on the lot? Is it this one here? Is that one?
He's over here.
Or you over here?
He's off the chart.
You're here. Okay.
Yeah. He's off the
Okay,
chart.
great. Okay, thank you.
Can I provide this to you? Like I said,
I'm sorry?
can I provide you with the written restriction?
If you could provide it to our council.
Just give it to.
Or
Sheila.
Troy.
Yeah, give it to Sheila and she'll put it in the record. One more piece of information, that property was Simon actually offered the exact same price to the folks, no loss of money, they refused it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Collins. All right. Any further comments on that project? All right. So I will close the public hearing on that at 6:15. And we will now do the public hearing on item number 1, which is a final plat, Lot 1R-1 and Lot 6R-1 of the Great Commission Center, being a replat of Lot 1R and 6R, Block A of the Great Commission Center, in addition to the town of Copper Canyon, Denton County, Texas, according to the map or plat thereof recorded in Cabinet 5, page 435 of the map or plat records of Denton County. So far, I haven't gotten anybody who says they want to speak at the public hearing.
It's kind of rude that I spoke about.
Okay, so out of order, but fine. Brian, did you want to speak on it? No? All right. Anyone have any comments on that particular item on the agenda? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing on that at 6:17. We will now move to the action and discussion items. And I guess, again, I'd like to do them in reverse order since we've got more folks here for the item number 2. So we're going to discuss the Council Bluffs. I will read it here. Discuss, consider, and make a recommendation to the Town Council regarding a final plat of the Canyon Bluffs Edition, Lot A, lots 6R-1 and 6R-2, being a replat of Block A, Lot 6 of the Canyon Bluffs Edition, in addition to the town of Copper Canyon, Texas, recorded in document number 2020-10 in the plat records of Denton County, Texas. So now we'll have a little discussion of this. I guess a couple of things I'd like to start out with is I would dearly love to know where this condo thing came from. I mean, there's no multifamily in this town, period, end of story. So I don't know how that got started, but I've heard that from other people before. Oh, they're going to build condos. It's 2 acres. Did not happen.
That's correct. I'm not sure where that came from here, but that's.
Yeah, so let's not panic over that.
Do we know anything about what the proposed development of that property is?
Residential.
This residential, yeah.
Just a residential, single family?
Yep, that's what we've been told, single family, yeah.
All right, so let's kind of get into some of the issues here that are on the table. The real issue for this property is, we've had other properties with drainage. This one doesn't seem, drainage could be an issue here, by the way, but it's not at the moment. The issue here is easements. And we have seen this piece of property come to us before, and we've had these easement issues before, and they went away for reasons I think perhaps you folks here know about. So be clear that we are not surveyors. We don't survey. We don't go read the documents in Denton County, but we have our legal counsel here who does, in conjunction with the surveyor. So whenever we get a plat, we have certain rules under the state of Texas, time limits in which we must consider them. So they have to come before us, and we have to make an action or have a reason why we don't take an action. So there are 3 critical players in this before it gets to us. One is our town engineer, one is the surveyor who provides the plat, and the third is our town council. So our town engineer is not here, but he has indicated in a checklist that we've all reviewed, included in our materials, that this meets all the specifications that are required by the town for a plat. So one thing we could discuss is if any of you have noticed anything that seemed odd in the checklist that you wanted more details on, maybe we wait. Hopefully, did you say Chris was on his way, or?
Yes, he's on his way.
All right, so we can hold those till the engineer's here if you have them. The second thing is just so you all are, we're really not in a position to argue with a surveyor. If a surveyor says something's there, he's done the research, he's putting his stamp on it that it is there. This is a final plat, and it's got a surveyor's name on it, and his seal on here somewhere. There it is. David Bates. Oh, that's the owner. Okay, so I guess, Matt, if I could ask you to talk, you have looked into this. Have you dealt with this survey question, and how do we look at this?
So Troy and I have had a lot of discussions on this particular piece of property. And to me, what I think the biggest issue is, it's it's private covenants and easements that have to deal between property owners. The town itself, the town's regulations, we can only regulate our town or town regulations. So if there's a property dispute between neighbors, if there's covenants that property owners believe are being violated, those are civil disputes that the town doesn't get in.
Okay. Now, and also, I think just to kind of address another one of the items mentioned, clearly that property cannot be developed until it has fire access. That means someone is going to have to figure out how to make it to the Amazon truck to get back there before they can ever hope to build on that property. Right?
Yeah, I can add that. And Troy and I spoke about that too. And before any building permits will be issued, that road would have to meet specifications.
Right. So there's a number of hurdles there to any development of this property at the moment. I guess I wish Chris were here, but presumably because he's checked the boxes, in his opinion, the easements as drawn on this chart by the surveyors do give that property owner access. Now surveyors have made mistakes, I suppose, but they're putting their official seal on it, and we're not really in a position to tell them they're wrong.
I have a question, Mr. Bone. Did you say that you have documentation that that property actually belongs to you?
Right next to me, yeah. So, surveyors make mistakes.
So you're saying that lot 6R-2 on our plan here is yours?
You know what, I'm not really sure, I don't know how to read that, I'm on 962, I don't know what that shows on yours, but we've got 6 acres there. And that easement that is running along my property line is actually on my property.
It's on the Donahue edition.
Correct.
He does. I think it's the north side. I think he's up here.
Oh, you're north, your lot 2R up there. Yeah, so
Yeah.
this does not have an easement on what I think is your land. This shows the easement on lot 6R-1, which is,
So I like to state on this, if I may.
yep.
My name is Mark Lair, I'm the project manager for 3Plat. Absolutely, he does own the property on the Donahue addition. Mr. Collins has an easement on the Donahue property that he utilizes for access. And then it comes down on the lot 6R1 and 6R2. Now the easements there, they're with the land, and they were inherited because the owners of the property are successors entitled to that land. The land itself meets the zoning requirements of R2 and meets the minimum lot dimensions and will with the residential use as well.
So I'm not looking at a Google Earth here, I'm looking at a plat.
Yes.
So I'm not really clear who Donahue and all the
Right.
names are. Can one of you kind of look at one of these maps and tell us who's where? I mean, because I know there's,
If I may, I can show you as well. This is his property up here. If I may. His
His-
property is up here.
his
That
being,
long strip.
His property corner ends right here. And this part up here remains a Collins tract as identified. Currently, there's an easement that comes through here and it scoots down to this area. And then this is the area that is used by Collins through here. The easement comes up here. Currently, there's a fence, trees and all that.
along both sides of that road.
On both sides.
It's a road that goes between two fences.
Right.
Yes.
And as who's is this? I found out in 2020 that the Argyle Fire
There's two 30-foot
access to that area is one by the previous landowner.
Can one person speak at a time?
One on lot 1. Right, but you see the dead end right here.
Yes, that's correct.
You
So
see the dead end right here.
So our property line comes, if I'm looking at this right, it comes down to here. Our property goes all the way down here.
Yes, correct.
Kent, this is you?
Yes, sir.
So our property line comes basically to, almost to Kent's driveway here. We're all
Right,
the way down.
you've got a gate right here, right?
No, sir, I don't have a fence.
This is his 30-foot access easement on his property.
Jason
here.
Jason has a fence up there.
This is their easement here.
that they have rights to utilize for access all through here.
No, we
Hold
own
on,
this.
one at a time.
We don't have access and we don't have rights. We own it. It's our property. And it's on my, I have paperwork that says that we own it. That's correct.
But
You
other
own it,
people-
But there's an easement there for access that Collins utilizes
Correct.
across your property.
Correct.
But let me give you a picture. Right? So there's when this road was put in, right, it was 2 30-foot easements. When I get to the top of the hill, I get a choice. Go straight, and there's a fence line there now. This very moment, there's an actual fence that's on the easement, right? But I could go straight up the hill, but I didn't. I went to the right. So as Jason said, I went on to 962. He's the property owner, he's the landowner, right? And then this goes out to a common road. Right? Now, this common road here is another private easement with over 30 entities having access to it. 11 homeowners and then a bunch of companies have access to it as well for oil and gas dumpage, right? So my point being, this easement ends right here. The entire 60-foot easement ends right here.
Yeah.
This property is over here somewhere.
Your easement is 60 foot wide and it ends at this location. Their easement, their 30-foot access easement ends here. And this 30-foot was dedicated back in 1991. Yours was dedicated in 1992. They have superior right to that area to utilize it. It's ingress, egress.
I don't believe there's an earlier plat than this one right here that's official.
If I may, Commission, if I may, again, this body is not competent to decide property lines. Again, we have a survey that says where the property lines are. I don't think we have anything that can say that's not accurate. So
Yeah, we're not really in a position to decide prior plats.
Sharing.
But I appreciate that you came loaded for bear here.
But whether or not they be able to build on it or not and get permits is,
That's down the road.
that's down the road.
This is just a plat.
This is a land sale.
This is just a
basically.
land sale plat. And the purchaser or the owner has a legal position that differs from his neighbors or the other properties. And according to our town attorney, really it's between the owners to settle this in civil.
We'd be happy to be neighbors and work with everybody on it.
Right. You know.
We want to, the property and nature of the area is beautiful. We want to maintain that. We want to keep peace with everything and be happy to work with everybody on that access drive out there.
And you're not planning to build condos.
We're not building condos out there or apartments. It's just a single family residential home.
Right. Thank you.
But the original easement was granted to facilitate his property, not anything beyond that. Which I think is probably the issue.
Well, this property's been subdivided several times, so it's,
Well, the town council actually wrote a plat of mine, access to 963 home on a plat, in an argument on 3015.
Your property's not platted, sir.
When 3015, it was owned by the same developer, tried to use that same easement, and he was denied access to the easement by the town council. That lasted for about 4 years.
again, we're not in a position to say yes or no on any of that. And you're aware of the road would have to be, assuming the easements could be worked
Right.
out.
And after a meeting with one of the previous property owners, I found out that the area was approved by the EMS, Michael Lugo of the Argyle Fire Department back in 2020. All I have is the email on that. I don't have any actual map or anything.
It's now ESD1.
It is map. Okay. Thank you for the correction. All I have is the email from the previous property owner saying that. So I'm
That
sure.
was to his property, not beyond that. Right, so that's gonna have to.
I'm still confused on who's exactly where and.
Right,
and-
Either way,
Yeah.
you're saying the road needs to be up to
The
date.
road needs to be,
We'll
would
be
have
sure-
to
we'll
be
be sure
significant
that-
upgrade before any.
Yes. I mean, it's the safety reason anyway. I mean, if it's not, it can't handle emergency vehicles. We sure want to be able, it does. So that's a good thing.
All right, further discussion on this.
So just to reiterate, right? So clearly there's a difference of opinion on right of way, who has what right of way, understand that. What I've heard, right, is that the decision around who's correct, if you will, I'll loosely use the term correct because I'm not sure what that is. is a legal issue, not something that P&Z has the expertise or the knowledge to weigh in on. That our responsibility, P&Z's responsibility, is to weigh in on simply replatting the property. Does the property conform to the ordinances for replatting the property? And is everything in alignment relative to the checklist? And Chris is here, by the way. For those of you who don't know, this is the city engineer. And that even if the decision tonight by P&Z was to approve the plat, that doesn't mean that this is fait accompli. It means that simply the plat is approved by P&Z, and there's still permitting process. There's still, if there's a legal resolution or whatever, however that gets addressed, to resolve the right of way. Is that?
It doesn't solve the
That
access
is
to
correct.
it. It's just the plat, not the access to it.
That's right. Yeah, we're
No
not,
expectation that there'll ever be a building on it.
that's a horse of a different color, something for another day.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I understood and that everybody else had the same
Yeah, I understand.
understanding.
Chris, did you have any comments on this?
No, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. The easement you were referring to when it was originally platted had to come off Canyon Bluffs. There's been a new easement overlaid on that north property line, I think it was in 2021, that changed that access. And so from the town's perspective, it really is a civil matter at this point, that it's met the town's requirements in terms of providing an access to that back lot.
Two things. One is there's a tremendous number of replats floating around that have existed since 2020 that are illegal. They're illegal in every sense. In some cases, those two easements are completely removed. When Don owned all 18 plus the 11.2 acres, he completely tried to replat. My question to the town council is private citizens' rights, land rights versus the city. How the city actually plays a role in that at all? Does the city not play a role at all? Or is it all left up to the individuals, folks that live in Copper Canyon that fight for their property rights?
Well, we have ordinances that protect the town's position. We do often face these kind of issues that are kind of legal issues that are not part of our ordinances. I mean, would you like to address it, Matt?
No, I think you're absolutely right. The town is limited to what it can regulate, and specifically the town of Copper Canyon is a general law municipality, so it can only follow the laws that the state law says that it can follow. The code of ordinances is what it can regulate. It can't regulate private covenants. It can't regulate private easements. Again, those are civil issues that the town cannot get into.
Private contracts between
Correct.
mutual landowners.
It'd be the same thing,
Yeah.
correct?
Does the town not take into account that there will be a legal issue if you approve the plat? Is that not, are you able to take that into account, or is that something that is like, that's not up to us?
No, that's not something we can deal with.
Right. Okay.
That's what I mean. We're kind of just on the mechanics here, if you will. I've got a better word for it, but the mechanics. And, property rights, we're big on property rights. That's what we're here for, is protect property rights. But there are some that we can't protect. And I mean, just be real honest, if somebody's going to build a house and it meets all the town standards, but it's going to block your view, well, I'm sorry, you should have blocked the view.
Right.
We can't protect people's view, but the way we go about that is by setbacks and height requirements. And that's what we can control.
But land use restrictions that are publicly knowledgeable by all the buyers of the property, who know when they buy it that there's these restrictions on the property that can't change. You don't enforce any of those. You don't have any ability.
Those
to know
are,
what
again,
the-
private contract rights. I can't know what the buyer knows. We can't know what the buyer knows at the time he buys it. And there are disagreements on these things that are, as you say, go back in time. It's not really our role to research the past and figure out which one precedes what. We can't do that. That's the whole point of the surveyors.
Even when you're annexed in, right? When you're annexed into the town, you don't do any of that legwork.
That's right.
Well, just to clarify a little bit, when you're platting, there's requirements to the platting, setbacks, who your service providers are. There's things like that that are required when they plat. When they come back and pull a building permit, that's when some other rules get invoked. In this case, since it's a private easement as opposed to town right of way. Any further EMS, those type of things will be pulled at the building permit, rather, instead of being required when it's actually platted, like a normal subdivision.
So as an example, there's no fire hydrant.
That comes,
It would
that's,
be more than 1,000 feet to get access to a fire hydrant.
that's later.
That's why I was saying it's not fait accompli. If the plat does get approved, it doesn't mean development is approved. It means the plat is done. There's still several hurdles that have to get cleared in the process.
Lots of them.
And that's the reason that Mark was asking about the condition of the road and trying to understand that from an egress and ingress standpoint. Those are all things that come up as we move down, as the process moves further down to permitting and things like that.
So out of curiosity for you guys, particularly 962, 963, the Orchid Hill addresses, who maintains that? That road is very nicely maintained, that Caliche Road. Do you guys split the cost, or is there one owner that keeps it up? How do you guys keep that really nice, good road in there?
Community effort.
Community effort. Someone who owns a grader or something like that. Okay, it's
Actually just, yeah, it's a community effort.
right. So it's a very, very well maintained road. Okay. Further discussions, comments? In that case, I think we.
So one last, so Chris, and you may have said this, I don't know, but I know because you came in late, so we kind of glossed over the checklist until you got here. So you're comfortable from a checklist standpoint, everything here meets requirements for the plat?
Yep,
Final plat.
because it's a minor plat with all private, no public improvements. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So do I hear a motion to approve or disapprove? Do I hear a motion? You want to be the one?
Yeah, approve.
You may move that we approve it.
Motion
Do
approved.
I hear a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Second. All right. Any further discussion? If not, we will vote on it. All right. We have a motion to approve the plat as presented and as noted by our town engineer, that it meets the requirements. So I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Me.
One opposed. All right. So we've got 4 votes, so the motion carries with 1 negative. All right, thank you. So now we will move on to our next discussion item, which is, I have to read it again. This is discuss, consider, make a recommendation to the town council regarding a final plat lot 1R-1 and lot 6R-1, block A, of the Great Commission Center being a replat of lot 1R and 6R, block A of the Great Commission Center, in addition to the town of Copper Canyon, Denton County, Texas, according to the map plat thereof recorded in Cabinet 5, page 435 of the map plat records of Denton County. I think this is a little confusing on the plat. I'd like to ask Brian if you want to give us a kind of an explanation of what's going on here. You can come on up and just kind of speak to us and let us explain it to us. It may be simpler than it looks.
Well, yes. I'm basically gonna buy 1 acre of land from my neighbor, Dale. That's it.
Yeah, and so that acres is that entire strip that runs north to south all the way down to Orchid Hill?
Yeah,
It's not just the little tail at the end, it's the continuation all the way down there.
so the line
If you drew a line straight from,
straight down.
straight down.
Yeah, all I'm doing is taking my fence and, well, basically my fence would come out in essence. I'm gonna- but
Move it over.
Yeah,
Right.
that's it.
Right, yeah, because you have a fence on that vertical line now.
Yes, I do. In line with my neighbor.
Now, there's a structure at the back of this too, just at the very,
That's in the other property here.
is that all the way
No,
up?
that's just his.
It's like a storage building or something.
No, it's not in that section.
Oh, it's on the
in
other
another
side.
one of his sections up off the paper.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Brian, are you going straight back from the property, is that what you're doing?
No. No, he's going off to the side and up. So I'm sorry, what's your name, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're the next door neighbor.
I'm gonna have 80 feet behind you.
He's
Yeah.
got the property right here.
Yeah.
So
Taking a strip that way.
your fence line, my fence line,
Yeah.
go back 80 feet.
I should have
So
stolen
my
my
property looks like an L. Yeah.
So you're going to have a different neighbor behind you, essentially. Right now it's Dale, it's going to be Brian.
I'm gonna have you almost surrounded.
Perfect.
The
So
plats.
that can't be built on them, I guess. You put the buffer.
It's,
That won't
No,
qualify.
it's
Too small.
2 acre there, so, no.
yeah.
It's too small.
Perfect.
Now, is it, again, Chris, maybe you know, is it even wide enough for an accessory building back
No.
there? It's not, it's too narrow.
I think it's not enough to have the setbacks on either side.
Yeah, I mean, you could build something that's like 5 feet wide or something, but I don't think there's even an accessory
I can
building.
do
you could put
that.
on
Yeah, no,
He could put something off on the portion that's near his
the
house.
whole point is to not build on it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right.
Right, so I'm 2 houses down, so I'm further enough away where I'm still allowed to participate in this. But I know this property very, very well,
Mhm.
and it's actually a win for everybody involved because it's a buffer against any potential land sale in the future, right? Because at one point in time, Dale's probably gonna sell some property and there'll be homes there, but these guys will be further off of that.
Mhm. So good planning ahead.
It's a win-win.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion here?
Thanks.
And by the way, Chris has already given us his checklist on this. I didn't see anything on here that, thank you, Brian. Didn't see anything on it that aroused any curiosity. This seems a very straightforward transfer from one owner to another. So I'd accept a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion that we approve this replat of.
Final plat, lot 1R-1 and lot
Thank you.
6R-1, block A of the Great Commission Center.
I second.
All right, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, unanimous approval. Thank you.
Sheila, these plats are posted online.
Yeah, the
Right, so Jerry, you can pull this down online from the city website.
Yeah, is it on that or is it? Is it on?
It's posted before the meetings.
Okay.
We discuss it.
Give this.
All right. Does anybody have a reason for an executive session?
No, sir.
Okay, no executive session. I'd like to add one thing to the agenda for this meeting and future, Sheila, which would be before the adjournment, a section on future business, future agenda items, to see if there's any future agenda items that anybody on the council or the commission wants to put for future meetings, just as a checklist. Jeff, did you have something?
Yeah, I'd like to add to the agenda that we have discussion about the table in section 2-102, which lists land use or permit use for things like event centers, churches.
Right, this came up 2 meetings ago, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've asked Troy to look into it with Dunaway also, but I think we ought to have a transparent, open discussion so we can stop kicking the can down the road.
All right.
Sounds good.
And we'll need to distribute that table as part of the advance of the meeting too, right? So that everybody will know where our subjects are. Want to have a public hearing on that as well, I would guess,
I
right?
think so.
Yeah, I think we should schedule that as a full-scale public hearing item, since there are people who have strong opinions on that subject. Any other items for future discussion or meetings, Chris? No?
No, we got a lot, I think, going on with Dunaway and ordinances, and that's just something being worked through.
But I don't think anything will be ready for us to discuss at the next P&Z meeting.
All right. Troy, Matt, Sheila? Good. No? All right, then I move we adjourn. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate y'all coming.
6:44.
Yes, we adjourn at 6:44. Thank you.
I knew that.
So, hey, Chris, I have a question for you.